earlier live stream is pertaining to Riley Strain, the discovery of his remains in the river, the Cumberland River in Nashville, Tennessee, 8 miles from the location where he was allegedly last seen and pinged near this bridge, Robertson Parkway Bridge. It's a very somber day in Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, and I'm in Springfield, Missouri, and other locales. Um, the live stream I did has 3 topics in it from earlier. Riley Strain, Carly Russell, given probation for her hoax last summer, and the Fletchers, whose daughter was found emaciated into a sofa in their home. They've received a reduced sentence of 40 years to now 20 years and 5 years supervised probation once they are released from prison on their 20-year sentence. Now, I won't doubt they probably won't do all of the 20 years, and that will most definitely be an injustice to their girl child who was 36 years of age. This live stream has a second part, and it's pertaining to a Nadia Vitel out of New York. There's a difference of her living in New York, from New York, Spain. We'll chop all that up after I discuss this said information pertaining to Riley Strain. You're going to hear from his parents. They have decided to speak naturally after the recovery of their son in the Cumberland River. I want to thank you all for joining me. KMIZ ABC 17 is the source of this information. Hello, everyone in the chat. Thank you for joining me.
Here and what's going to happen. I want to start by expressing our police department's very deep sorrow over the finding of Riley today. And we are with his parents. I think they know that, and we'll continue to be with them in the days and weeks ahead in our thoughts and prayers. I want to start this afternoon by introducing Riley's father, Ryan Gilbert.
Thank you all for being here, and those of you that help us keep Riley's face in front of the cameras. You've helped us get some closure here and let us take our boy home. I got a lot of people to thank, and I'm sure I'll forget somebody. You won't be forgotten. I'll remember you. The whole family will remember you. But I want to first thank the NPD for their efforts. They've had a lot of sleepless nights on this case as well. Can't give them enough thanks. Really appreciate the work they've done. The United Cajun Navy has come in to assist them. They've done a lot of work on the water and land for us. Came in and gave structure to this investigation on our side of it and helped keep things lined out. They flag here with the United Cajun Navy. They've been a great asset to us. The individuals in the area that have come in contact with us that have helped us with numerous things, gathering supplies and taking care of stuff like that, putting up flyers and whatnot. The Ward family for all their work. They put up a ton of flyers around town. They've been making phone calls. They've been assisting us in any way they can. All the people that have donated items to them that they've got to us throughout this whole ordeal. All the people back home in our own personal lives that have been there to support us, and our family at home as well. Thank you for keeping us in your thoughts and prayers. We can't say enough to all of you. Thank you. Oh, I wanted to mention also Gary and Skip Butler came in with their airboats. We've been on the water for a few days with those guys. They've been great to work with us. We can't thank them anymore. It's just unbelievable what they've done for us.
Most of you are familiar with seeing my face by now. I'm sure we're all ready for it to be over with. It's been an emotional roller coaster. We're quite thankful for everything that you've done for our family. The grace that you've given us, it means a lot, more than you'll ever know. We have learned through this ordeal that everybody has brought all the good to us. We've had a little bad. You're going to have that. But it has given us faith in people that sometimes gets clouded by what we're constantly hearing. We're extremely thankful for all the volunteers that have shown up, given us their time, their effort, their energy, very little sleep they've gone on. Our family, we can't thank our family enough for all the support that they've provided us, for all the, time spent, the love, the energy. Our friends that we consider family that aren't able to be here, but have been at home, caring to everything that we can't take care of, thank you. To the people of Nashville, I can't thank you enough for the support, the love, the encouragement that you've shown myself and my wife and Ryan and Millie. You don't understand how much that meant to us in some of our darkest hours. The hugs, the prayers, the offers. I can't say it enough. Thank you. To the Nashville Police Department. We know this hasn't been easy. We've tried to handle it with as much grace and poise as we can. It's hard. It's never quick enough when it's your family member. Like I told everybody numerous times, if he was 2 blocks away from us and they were walking him to us, it wasn't quick enough. We want him 2 inches in front of us. So thank you for everything that you've done for us. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you.
I just want to reiterate how thankful we are for everyone
Riley's mom.
and how much we appreciate everyone's support and love and prayers, because we feel them. We have felt every one of them, every single one. I just ask that you mamas out there hug your babies tight tonight, please. Please, for me, just hug your babies tight tonight. And again, thank you. Thank you for sharing our story.
You are very welcome, ma'am. What a horrible day. Lord have mercy.
Yeah, I'm not going to take a lot of time. Most of what I would say would just be to echo what's already been said. Outside of that, I would like to extend my thanks to the media community
Cajun Navy
here and the national media community, who far by large has been very gracious and very respectful of the situation. It's something that has not frequently been encountered in these situations, in my experience. As far as the Cajun Navy goes, since this is going to be a more or less a short interlude, if there is any interest in it, we would be happy to hold another meeting with the press, and it will likely be tomorrow sometime. Best place would probably be the public park where we first met, and you can let me know afterwards if there's interest in that. We'd be happy to help you. Thank you.
Oh, nice, excuse me. All right. ABC 17 is the source. Thank you all so much for tuning into live number 2, spending your weekend night with the Queen. Thank you. God is good. Amen. Prayers to the Strain, Gilbert, family, extended relatives, friends, associates, the university, the students, those who cared. And thank you for all the people who aided Cajun Navy, searchers who came to Tennessee to help the great state of Tennessee, the volunteer state. For those who do not know, that is what we are called here in Tennessee. We are the volunteer state. We lend a hand often to those in need, whether they are lost, missing, not missing, homeless, destitute, This is a great state to live in as far as getting help. Thank you all so much for joining me. Once again, ABC 17 News is the source. The family has spoken. The gentleman from the Cajun Navy, United Cajun Navy, has spoken out of Louisiana. Thank you, sir, for your services, and those who came bringing their boats and different tools to help us. Let's chop up this briefly because this is a two-part live and I don't want to be on here long because I already did a 2-hour live pertaining to the remains found of Mr. Strang. Mr. Strang was found early this morning by someone looking out, not a law official or searcher on a boat, but someone working in the general area. Mr. Strang was under a barge, from my understanding, and do not know how long he had been under there, how long he floated to the area, 8 miles down near Tennessee State University, historically Black college. That is the general area where Mr. Strang was found. And they had been looking out, as the chief had told people during a press conference earlier. Different people were looking out for Mr. Strang. As you see, he popped up day 14. Day 14. So ironic. Many people had hoped that he would be alive naturally. Parents would want their child alive, but sadly, he has not been found alive. How long was he out there in the water? Because all that's going to matter. An autopsy will be conducted, and people still have questions, naturally. Water in the lungs. Did he go into the water alive or deceased? How did he get into the water? No foul play has been rendered so far, but naturally an autopsy has to be done. A thorough autopsy, praying for a thorough autopsy done. And hopefully the parents can get some closure with the findings of the autopsy. So I still have questions, naturally, because I'm a human being. Did he make it into the water alive or deceased? Shirt found, most definitely have to mention that. The shirt that has been the talk of the town the past couple of days, week, has been debunked. Mr. Strang had on the said black and tan shirt that you've seen him in photographs and in those videos. He had that shirt on. So no one had the shirt. No one borrowed the shirt. He did not give the shirt to someone, and that is the said information. Now, as I said in the last live stream, how does Miss Sabrina and the homeless people and this Ross person feel? Because in the end, this was a alleged version from a man telling people he had a shirt and found it on the rail with puke on it. Very weird storyline. Then you have someone watching and seeing him feeding people at the homeless encampment, and then saw the shirt, assumed it belonged to this young man, and that got the ball rolling to this debacle that's now made it to News Nation and so on and so forth. Now it's not true. So as I said in my last live stream, the reason why I don't like repeating gossip, and he said, she said, is for this very reason. People love to spread stories. People love to spread fabrications, lies. This is why you have to be careful in repeating things. I say this time and time again, pertaining to true crime. You cannot believe everything people say. I don't know how many times I had to say during the live the other day that no woman was found in the river. And yet people just keep coming in, spreading this shit on news articles, chats. You got to stop doing that. You got to stop doing that. Stop repeating stuff that you don't know is true, because you make the situation worse. And you can best believe, after a news broadcast aired today, somebody will still say it's a lie about the shirt. You understand what I'm saying? No, they got it wrong. No, he couldn't have had the shirt on. They could right now take a picture of the dead man with the shirt on. Somebody still would say it wasn't true. What we don't know is what happened at the bar. What we don't know, the wanderings around 15, 20 minutes in the city. Why he went over to that area. How he got in the water. Deceased or alive. If there was foul play or not foul play. Police say not, but naturally people want to see it for themselves with a receipt, which will be the autopsy. This is a very terrible day. And it's also a lesson to be learned. Be aware of your faculties, whether you are sober or not, using narcotics or not, whatever it is you're into, the company you keep. You need to be aware. You need to know the people who you are with, who you're hanging around with. And I usually give this advice only to young people because talking to older people such as my age is like talking to yourself. You cannot give advice to somebody my age. It rarely works. So I would give this message to somebody young, 20s and 30s that still like to run around, have fun, hook up with random people, strange people, people they think they know. You need to be very careful of the company you keep. You need to know that if something is to happen to you, wherever you are, at the picture show, a bar, a barbecue, that if you fell out, somebody would render aid to you. They would know what the hell to do. And you do not have to end up a Riley Strange story drinking alcohol. You can end up this story being completely sober. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's just the way it is. You could end up a Riley Strange story just because you're breathing. That's just life. Bad things happen to people all the time, and they're not doing anything wrong. They're not breaking the law. They're not drinking. They're not getting high. They're not selling drugs. They're not, beating the old lady up down the street or carjacking. They're just going about their day, and now they are a damn local story. They are now a news story. They are now on social media. They are now on YouTube, TikTok. You could be a story. This is what I always try to preach in my commentary. You have to be careful dealing with people, dealing with strangers. People watch all the time. That's going to be my next topic that I'm getting ready to bring to you about being aware of your faculties. Because even the story I'm about to bring you after this one, it's whack. And there's some conflict in this story. The second story I'm about to bring you about, Nadia Vitel, out of New York, Spain, wherever she's from. You better start paying attention. I tell people this all the time. A lot of people think everything's funny, everything's a joke. Well, everything's not. Leaving doors open. Please stop doing that. I do it too. Go to the garbage can, go to the mailbox, lock your door. You don't lock your door. Well, guess what? You don't know who could walk in your door with your back's turned. Anything is possible. I feel bad. I felt bad watching him in that video, and naturally he was probably already dead when we watched the video. Just watching his demeanor, because I said, I don't want to keep watching this video anymore. I don't want to keep watching him walking around drunk, because it's a terrible view to know he was missing, to know he was out before trying to have fun, and this is what he got. To be floating under the water, above the water, perished. People looking for him, strangers, family, friends, nobody knows nothing. And then along comes the searchers, TikTokers, find a card, still don't know anything, video surveillance with a cop, out of sight, another video, not released, grainy allegedly, just one thing after the other. And yet we still don't really know what happened under that bridge. You just know he was found 8 miles down, which we as citizens who care, we have a right to try to figure out, taking the information, what really happened under that bridge. And I still don't understand why this child went over to that river. I will never understand that. So hopefully his phone data, the pings, the phone company can give an accurate account of what his day was like, because in the end, he started out somewhere. He, came to Tennessee, came with these guys, assumed he was going to have a good time, and things went terribly wrong somewhere. And as I always have said, everything starts at that bar, whether people want to accept that or not. Okay? It's just the way it is. Hold on one second, everybody. It's got this nonsense going on. You got to be aware of your faculties. You got to be diligent about what you're doing, what you're not doing. You can end up a strange story, and don't think that you can't, because many people become a story every day. And I've said this so many times, especially when I look at people, the way they act, the way they talk, the things they're doing. I've noticed it sometimes even in the chat, the people in the videos, they're commenting. Some of the things just blow my mind. The commentary I hear out of people I've had on panel, and I leave the computer phone, like baffled, like, we're going to be hearing about this person. You know, and it's not to wish bad on a person, but there's lots of times I talk to people and I'm shocked that they have not made it to the news. And that's the whole point of this case. You don't know what can happen. You don't know what can happen to you, and that you could end up a news story, all because you made the wrong decision. You thought you were in the company of people who liked you, who cared about you. They didn't give a damn about you. And whether people want to hear it or not, he was failed, whether he's 22 years of age or not. He thought he had friends. He thought somebody cared. He thought he was going to be having a good time, and that's not what happened. He had a few hours of a good time to be asked to leave a bar. Don't know where he actually went. We only got a few clips of him moving about, but it's a short window from getting put out of the bar, the clips we saw with the timestamps, and the last ping at about 9:58, if that is accurate. It's sad because today is Mr. Strain. Tonight, because you can definitely believe somebody's leaving the earth tonight. It will be another story come tomorrow of another mishap, missing person, accident, foul play. It will be something. Mr. Strain was found with his shirt on, his Apple Watch on. Where are his other belongings? Did he have a wallet? Did he have keys on him? What all did he have on his person on the night of March 8th? Will those items be recovered, found? I do not know. When I get more information pertaining to Mr. Strain, I will bring you an update. His parents have just spoken a little while ago. Prayers to them. Prayers to the searchers, Nashville, the police, Mizzou, the students, faculty, staff, friends, family, both communities of Springfield, Missouri, and Nashville, Tennessee, far and near. Thank you all who tuned in. Thank you for those who tried to help in some way, making the flyers. Thank you. Because without somebody trying to help get the word out, you know, investigation can be hindered. As I said, I pray that everyone involved learns something from this situation. Something. You take something of value from the death of Mr. Strain. Because as I shared with you all days ago, a personal story of me giving a young lady a ride from a bar one night, it's about a year or so ago, and nobody offered her a ride. Nobody offered her a ride. But I offered her a ride, took her home across town, and I didn't even live in the general area where the bar was. So I'm doing all this extra driving, but I felt like I was doing the right thing because nobody offered her a ride. And it was at the end of the night. She got left by someone. They had a disagreement or whatever. They left her, which was a cold ass act. But as I told her, I said, you need to get it together. You are drunk. The girl told you to get in the car. You didn't want to get in the car. That was your choice. And then you're out here stranded trying to find a ride. Nobody's answering their phone. And naturally, people aren't going to be picking up the phone at 2 a.m. to see what you need or what you want. And see, you got to think about things like that too. You might have a pocket full of money, but you're stranded somewhere for whatever reason. How are you going to get out of that situation? That's what you got to tell yourself. How am I going to get out of this situation? So you could be stranded at a bar, a pub, a restaurant, the movie theater, wherever the hell you went and didn't get a secure ride back, or you fell out with somebody, they left you. You better not make that mistake again. And that's what I told that young lady. Naturally, you know, she's about near my age or something, but I told her, I said, this is what you don't do. You should have got in that car. That girl told you to get in the car. She's ready to go. You were drunk, inebriated. You still kept talking to whoever you were talking to. Was that person's conversation worth you getting left behind? No, it wasn't. Call them on Facebook. Get the number. Get in the car. And as I said with the situation with Mr. Strain, I don't know what happened in that bar, but I know common sense. He didn't just get thrown out just because he was drunk. It's BS. He was doing something that they didn't like, and they wanted him out of there. And this is why I keep saying you don't know people. You don't know what he was doing, what he was saying. Each day we get a little something added extra. And it's just a bad situation. And naturally, he probably didn't want to, go in for the night. He wanted to keep partying, but that still didn't work in his favor. Go to the next bar allegedly, he's not let in. Then you get a rumor that the guys are at another bar or that bar. See, you don't know what to believe. The gist of the story is something happened in the bar. He was asked to leave, and he was escorted out, and nobody walked out with him that was friends with him. And here he is out aimlessly wandering around the city of Nashville drunk, trying to find his way wherever, because right now, I don't know where this young man was trying to go. I just know he ended up over at that river, and that was that. 1 second, everybody. That's the latest Raleigh strain. As I said, my best advice to anyone is to be aware of your faculties. And if you're going to be drinking, you better make sure you have a solid ride home. That's all I can say. Wherever you are, in town, out of town, because you do not want to end up a Raleigh strain story. You do not. We will wait to see what the autopsy has to say about Mr. Strain. Did he go in the water alive or deceased? Water in the lungs, no water in the lungs. Other belongings, such as, phone, if he had a wallet, don't know. And what will his friends, frat brothers, have to say? Will they speak, come forward? Will they say anything? Finally? Will they tell the truth about what happened in that bar? I'm curious. Let's go to my community page and look at some questions pertaining to Raleigh strain and this new information, and then we'll go to my second topic. Welcome to the Vault XL. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $sign Big Angie, 129 Cash App, stickers, and chats are always welcome during the live stream. Thank you, everybody. Have a safe weekend, everyone. All right. Will we find out the truth to Raleigh Strain's death? 36% yes, 9% says no, 45% not sure, partial truth 9%, only 11 votes. Please go to my community page. Take the polls, okay? Do frat brothers have remorse of Raleigh's death? 50% yes, 13% no, 17% not sure. Will Raleigh's frat brothers now speak on what happened on March 8th or on the death of their brother? Yes for both, 20%. Yes, condolences only, 0%. Wow, that's deep. No, neither, 80%. Not sure, 0%. So you all feel like they're not going to even speak on either give condolences or what happened at the bar. And only 10 of you voted on that. What will Sabrina and the homeless folks have to say now that Raleigh has been recovered? Hello, Sammy Nicole. Thank you for the donation, sweetheart. Thank you very much. What will Sabrina, the lady who helped feed the homeless, who saw the shirt allegedly on a homeless man, what does she have to say now that he's been found in the water in that shirt? Number two, the homeless people talking about the shirt and the homeless person, Ross, Mystery Ross. What do they have to say now? And what the hell does Mr. Ross have to say? Because I'm sure he's thinking, I've been the talk of the town, and I don't even know what the hell's going on. Here we go. All right. Raleigh Strain's death is an accident, 79%. He put himself in the river, 6%. Foul play, 15%. Thank you all for taking the poll. I really appreciate that. Will Raleigh Strain's autopsy show no foul play? 63% of you said yes. 19% of you said no. And 19% of you said you are not sure. The polls are on my community page. Just go to my channel and swipe your finger to community, and you'll see all my updates, breaking news, and the polls to take. Thank you so very much. Kate Middleton, is not well. She has cancer, and she is currently undergoing chemotherapy. For those of you who follow Royal News, prayers to the strained Gilbert family, the mother, Miss Michelle. Prayers to them. Next conversation is pertaining to a very diabolical story out of New York. This is another cautionary tale of why you have to be aware of your faculties, aware of your home, family members' homes, your whereabouts, because you don't know people. Let's go to New York and see what's going on up there. ABC 7 New York is the source, everybody. Thank you for joining me. This is conversation number 2.
Our breaking news, squatters accused of killing a woman who encountered them in her late mother's apartment in Kips Bay. Our breaking news, squatters accused of killing a woman who encountered them in her late mother's apartment in Kips Bay are now in police custody. Investigative reporter Dan Krause live in the news.
It's on my community channel, The Poll.
Hi there, Dan.
Hi, Janice. This is one of a handful of high-profile stories involving squatters that we've been covering over the past 2 days. The suspects, ages 16 and 19 years old, were captured in York, Pennsylvania, which is about 2 hours west of Philadelphia. Take a look. Police say they wanted a connection with the brutal death of Nadia Vitel. She lives in Spain and traveled to her mother's apartment in Kips Bay last week. It's an apartment that had been empty for a few months since her mother's death. Police say when Vitel arrived, she found 2 squatters inside the 19th floor apartment. A struggle broke out and the victim was slammed against the wall and died of blunt force trauma to the head. Her body then stuffed inside a duffel bag. Police say the suspects then stole the victim's car, crashed it in Pennsylvania, and then took off. We spoke with the building superintendent last night, who said he has no idea how the squatters knew her apartment was empty.
I'm wondering how they knew, about this apartment.
How they picked it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't seem like they were just trying out other apartments. It was like they just went straight up to the 19th floor.
Unfortunately, local police in Pennsylvania did not run the license plate of the stolen car until the day after the crash, which gave the 2 the opportunity to take off. That is, until the U.S. Marshals Service caught up with them over the past few hours. We'll have much more for you on this developing story beginning later today at 4 p.m.
All right, everybody. That's ABC 7, New York. Very wicked story. I'm going to bring you some information pertaining to this woman found in her mother's apartment, her late mother's apartment. It's very bad. Each article has something different than the other one, so I'll just be recapping a little bit of this and a little bit of that from each article. Thank you for joining me. So I tell you, you got to be aware of, you got to be aware of your faculties. Lord have mercy. It's like nobody gets it. This is scary. ABC 7 New York is the source, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Two suspected squatters in custody in Pennsylvania after a woman found dead in duffel bag in Manhattan. ABC 7 is the source, everybody. Two suspected squatters wanted for questioning in the murder of a woman who walked in on them living inside her recently deceased mother's Kips Bay apartment are now in custody. The suspects were caught Friday in York, Pennsylvania by members of the U.S. Marshals Regional Fugitive Task Force just before 11 a.m. Hallie Tejada, 19, and Kinsley Austin, 18, were wanted in connection to the brutal death of Nadia Vitel. Tejada is being held on a local charge of receiving stolen property for possession of the victim's stolen Lexus. Both are being held pending extradition for her murder. Building Superintendent Gene Pompey says a weight has been lifted from his shoulders. Knowing that there's justice for her and family, that's a relief, said Building Superintendent Gene Pompey. Vitels arrived in the country from Spain last week to prepare the East 31st Street apartment for a family friend. It was owned by her mother and had been vacant for 3 to 4 months since her death. Instead, she discovered the man and woman living inside. A struggle broke out and the victim was slammed against the wall and died of blunt force trauma to the head. Let's see. Her body was found on Thursday of last week by her son, who came to the apartment with relatives after they had not heard from her for 2 days. Pompey was there when her body was discovered. A foot was protruding from the duffel bag. The closet, was partially open with all the clothes pulled out, Pompey said. And one of the in-laws said, I believe there's a body in that bag. Can you please open it? The fireman did, and he announced there was a body in there. Many of Vitel's belongings were tossed down the garbage chute. The suspect stole her Lexus and fled across the George Washington Bridge through New Jersey to Pennsylvania, where they crashed in Lower Paxton Township, just outside of Harrisburg. Unfortunately, local police in Pennsylvania did not run the license plate until the day after the crash, giving the two the opportunity to get away. Now, this makes no damn sense. Why would you not run the tag? Detectives recovered surveillance video of the two visiting multiple car dealerships, attempting to buy a new car for $1,000. They were not successful. Now, what is that all about? Did they steal money from her, use her debit card? What happened? Because you can't get money off a car without a PIN. So how would they have known her PIN? This is very weird. And then naturally, if you go in and use a card to try to buy anything, especially a car, won't I be asking for your driver license? So how are you going to show the driver license of the dead lady? And you're not the dead lady. Help me understand, everybody. I'm confused. The squatters were able to occupy the apartment, which has no front door. Listen carefully. No front door through the building's elevator, which opens directly into the space. The elevator requires key access, and detectives are still figuring out how the two got the elevator to open on Vitel's floor. Pompey told Eyewitness News he'd never seen them before. As far as this connection between the perpetrators, nobody knows, Pompey said. I've never seen them before. The last we saw of the victim was on Tuesday, going up to the apartment. I can't imagine treating someone's life. What did he say? Wait a minute. I can't imagine treating someone's life, so heartlessly. Investigators have recovered surveillance video of Vitel's waiting for alternate side parking rules to park her Lexus on East 31st Street before entering the apartment building, and of the suspects driving away in the vehicle after she was killed. The motive is still not clear. This makes no sense. They have recovered surveillance of Vitel's waiting for alternate side parking rules to park her Lexus on East 31st Street before entering the apartment building, and of the suspects driving away in the vehicle after she was killed. So how do you have a video of her going in the building or waiting for parking, but then you only got the suspects coming out to drive her car away? That makes no sense. If she entered the building, then you should have surveillance of the suspects entering the building. They had to come in there some kind of way, but I'm going to bring you another article that sheds maybe some new light on how these demons got in the damn building. Say, whoa. TheIndependent.com is the source number 2 pertaining to Miss Vitel's. I think I've spelled her name wrong on the title. Didn't put an S on there. Were they living in an apartment or they were not? Because I got a feeling the information is off here as well. 2 teenage squatters were arrested after a woman was killed and her body stuffed in a duffel bag after she walked in on them living in her late mother's New York apartment. Suspects were taken into custody for questioning, ABC News reports citing police sources. The victim, identified as 52-year-old Nadia Vitel, had come to the United States to prepare her mother's Manhattan apartment for a family friend, the outlet stated. Vitel's mother purportedly died a few months ago, and the apartment had been vacant for a while, the outlet reported. So now you got to ask yourself if this is apartment rented or bought. Because common sense, if you died, they're going to move you out the apartment if you're renting, and then they'll re-rent it to somebody else. Was this a bought apartment in an apartment building where you could buy units? This is what I like to know. Okay. Vitel's mother purportedly died a few months ago, and the apartment had been vacant for a while. We believe that some squatters took the apartment over, and this woman came home to get this apartment set up and walked in on the squatters, said NYPD Chief of Detectives Joseph Kinney to Pix 11 News. Her body was first discovered inside a duffel bag in the front closet of an apartment on March 14th. After the building superintendent, John Pompey, led in family members who were concerned about her after they hadn't heard from her. I've been here 22 years. We've never had an incident like this, Mr. Pompey told ABC 7. Police found Vitel in the closet with her foot hanging out in an apartment on the 19th floor of the building at around 4:30. So let's say her leg was hanging out of the bag, okay? The victim's son opens up the closet door near the front door and discovers a duffel bag, Chief Kinney reportedly said. Many of her belongings also ended up down a garbage chute, and the squatters, believed to be a man and a woman, were reportedly spotted going in and out of the building, and neighbors heard the chute opening and closing, Kinney said. Police are investigating the case as a homicide, and medical examiners say that Vitel had died from blunt force head trauma, CBS reported. The squatters are accused of stealing Vitel's Lexus car and driving to Pennsylvania, where they reportedly crashed a vehicle near Harrisburg. The suspects were eventually taken into custody on Friday in New York today. Pennsylvania, according to ABC News, the Independent has contacted NYPD for further information. I believe this happened today that they got arrested. Uploaded 4 hours ago. Nadia Vitel, found in a duffel bag. Try my best to show her picture if I can, because it's going to be tricky the way I got this computer set up, but I can't get her picture. Hold on 1 second, everybody. Who is Nadia Vitel? Woman killed in NYC apartment as squatters wanted. Naturally, they have been arrested. Guy and a girl, they're young, 16, 19 years of age. A bunch of thugs. A bunch of damn thugs. Hold on. Can't get this information to load up for some reason. Hold on, everybody. Well, I was hoping I can get a picture of her. About Miss Nadia. Reports online say that she had flown from Spain to visit the apartment. Although social media accounts which appear to belong to her residence as New York. So she has a residence allegedly in New York. A LinkedIn profile suggests Vitel was a skilled sports marketing specialist with more than 15 years of experience. A Facebook page, which also appears to belong to Vitel, shows her writing fluently in Russian. What remains unclear is how the squatters entered the apartment in the first place and how long they were there, located in the Kips Bay area of Manhattan. Online estimates from Redfin show similar apartments valued at between $2 and $5 million. So grandmama had some money. Mama had some money, okay? The story also comes in on the context of concerns raised by property owners recently in New York City, where a person can claim squatters' rights after 30 days of living at a property. Wow. Last week, a woman was apprehended after a tense standoff with squatters at a home she owns in Queens. After she decided to sell the house, Adele Andaloro discovered residents squatting there who had replaced the doors and the locks. She was quoted in New York Post as saying, "I'm really fearful that these people are going to get away with stealing my home." Newsweek has sought an update on the Nadia Vitel case from Tariq Shepard, the NYPD Deputy Commissioner of Public Information through an email address provided for the media on the NYPD website. And that's all they have. They don't have anything else. How did they get in? If you can only get off her floor by elevator. Hello, Evie. Thank you for joining me. Another vicious story in the urban jungle. I've murdered young people in her late mother's apartment. She came back to get it ready for a relative or someone to live in, which I don't understand all that either. And they beat her to death and put her in a duffel bag, stole her car, wrecked the car in Pennsylvania, and that's how they came to justice. Once U.S. Marshals were informed of the people, tag wasn't readily assessed by cops as missing, stolen. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder about the police. Two teenagers were arrested after a woman was discovered dead in a duffel bag in New York. Woman was identified as 52-year-old Nadia Vitel. Earlier this month, she went to check on her late mother's Manhattan apartment, which had been empty for months, according to two law enforcement sources. The teenagers are identified as 19-year-old Hallie Tejada and a 16-year-old were unlawfully occupying the apartment, and it's supposed to be a guy and a girl. The NBC News does not usually identify minors accused of crimes. Vitel's body was found March 14th after a wellness check at the Kips Bay apartment, police said. Her cause of death was blunt force trauma of the head, says the New York Chief Medical Examiner's Office. This is where it gets interesting. Investigators found surveillance footage showing Vitel's movements around the apartment building on March 10th, and the teenagers entering the building shortly after. Stay woke now. She goes in on the 10th, and then the two suspects shortly after. So what is shortly after? 2 minutes, a minute, 20 minutes? What? Investigation also found items belonging to Vitel in the building's garbage receptacle area. Tejada and the 16-year-old, because Tejada's 19, are seen leaving the building on March 12th when they allegedly stole Vitel's car. They drove to New Jersey and eventually crashed in the Lower Paxton Township of Pennsylvania, according to the law enforcement sources. The crash led to the arrest of the teenagers by the U.S. Marshals Regional Fugitive Task Force in York, Pennsylvania, per the law enforcement sources. It is not clear if the teenagers have attorneys or what they have been charged with. But I already told you, she's been charged, or the girl, I believe, with stolen property. Or one of us is charged with stolen property. I don't know who's who. Hallie sounds like a girl name, but so let's go back and dissect this for a second here. March 10th, she goes in the building, and then they enter afterwards. Then the two are seen leaving on the 12th in her car. So 2 days later, they leave in her car. So that means they were staying in their apartment with a dead body for 2 days. Where's the surveillance camera of them being in there as squatters? Or are you only calling them squatters after murdering her and staying in the apartment for 2 days? See, this is where this is a problem. NBC News is the source, everybody. Thank you for joining me. This is where this is a problem. How did they get in the building? Okay? How did these two heathens get in the building if it's only accessed by a key to turn in the elevator? apartments valued at $2 to $5 million. So that means this dead lady had a nice place. Glass doors in the front where you walk through. The entry of the building. There was a black guy speaking that's supposed to be the superintendent. He sounded like he could barely talk. I don't know what's going on. But how do we get to the gist of the story? How did they get in? Did they follow her from somewhere? She's driving a nice car, a Lexus, don't know the year. But anywho, maybe they followed her from a grocery store, convenience store. I'm confused. How did they get in the building? Who told them about the apartment? Nobody's in there. Somebody had to be doing some talking or they followed her because this don't make no sense. They say they went in shortly after she went in. So I'm trying to figure out that they followed her from somewhere. They watched her get out the car, try to park the car, and they thought, okay, let's go after this lady. She looked like she got some money. So when she walked into the building, which that don't make no sense because if this is a $2 million apartment, $5 million apartment, how the hell did they get in the door? Because I see front doors in the front of the building that, you know, that I'm assuming would be locked. This is weird to me. Something's off. I hate stories that just don't make no damn sense because it hurts my brain to try to nitpick it down because I don't understand. She lives in the type of building where she didn't have a front door. Okay? She didn't have a front door. Elevators open up into her apartment. And you've seen that with a lot of swanky apartments in the movies where you go to the front of the hall and there's no front door, just an elevator. You push the button, go in the elevator, go down, you know, to go outside. So obviously the dead lady had some money. I'm assuming she owned the place because a lot of buildings in New York, you can rent or you can buy the apartment. Then you have to pay, you know, a homeowners association fee to keep the maintenance up on the property. Or just like it would be if you lived in a neighborhood, they had homeowners association. So how did these demons get in here? Somebody got some explaining to do. I think they followed her in there. I don't think they've been in there a long time. Because the superintendent says, I don't know nothing about them. I don't know them. I don't know how they got in the building, how long they've been in the building. But what don't make any sense is you say, well, we could see her fumbling around with the parking area, but you don't see these two. So how is it that you wouldn't see these two coming in any entrance or however the building is set up? You got to have a front entrance. You know, I'm not about to sit here and believe in New York City, there's no fucking front doors to get into the apartment. Come on now. Every apartment in New York has to have a front damn door. Now, her apartment may not have a door. It had an elevator door. But there has to be an entrance because you got to be able to get in the building to get your shit, to get in there, to go to your apartment. This is crazy to me. How do you end up dead going to check on your mother's apartment? This is crazy to me. So they either followed her in or they were already in the apartment. Because the police act like they don't even know how they got in there. So I'm going to go with they followed her in. They followed her in, they got in that building some type of way. Beat her up, stuffed her in a bag, came out of there, stole her car, wrecked the car. The rest is history. This is what I'm going to say, and I'm going to check out of here. You have got to be aware of everything. People following you, walking too close, going in buildings with locked doors, such as holding the door open. That's dangerous because you might be letting the perpetrator in to rob you, kill you, or do damage to somebody else. That's why it's not good walking in locked doors and have somebody on your tail. Because you got people who are standing around a building waiting for somebody to go in, and then they go in behind. And then you sit here looking crazy like, oh shit, I didn't open this door and let this person follow in behind me. That's dangerous. Because there might be a perpetrator waiting to rob somebody, hurt somebody, home invasion, and you just let them in because it may be you, it may be somebody else. And some people be bold enough to tell a person, oh, wait a minute. You out here waiting for somebody to open this door? I'm not getting ready to open this door. You're not going to fall in behind me. I don't know you. Do you live here? Does your mama live here? Your daddy? Well, you better find a way to call. You understand? Because I'm sure this has happened in many apartment complexes around the U.S. People hang outside the doorways waiting for somebody to either come out the door or go in the door. And I got a feeling that's what happened here. They waited on her and followed behind her. But then that really don't make sense, because if she went in the door and it's supposed to be locked, the entry door, then how did they get in? And how did they know to catch up with her? See, somebody still would have to been, this story don't make no sense. Because the article says, in this article, they went in shortly after her. So that's why I say, what's shortly? 1 minute, 2 minutes, 20 minutes? How did these two heathens get in the damn building? How would they get on her floor? Because I would assume you have to have a key to turn in the elevator to get to the 19th floor. They had to have been walking on her heels. How about that? How about she went to the door to open it and they were behind her? Sound like you should have wrote, they followed her into the building. Because if I go into a locked door, the only way somebody behind me is getting in is, one, they walked in behind me, they have a buzzer key to get in, or they buzz somebody to get in. I don't really understand. And now we have a whole dead person, and nobody knows how the damn crooks got in the damn building. Do you see how stupid this sounds? In the modern day of technology and cameras, you got cameras showing her doing something with her car in the parking, whatever she was doing, trying to find a parking space. I don't even understand that. But you ain't got nothing to show the crooks coming in. Did you hear what you're saying? So how the fuck did they get in the building? Oh, we see them coming in shortly after her. Oh, okay. But you don't know how they got in. So see, this story is stupid. You can't say, I don't know how they got in the building, but I saw them go in shortly after her. Are y'all hearing this? If you own property, you need to have somebody check your property. If you're not going to be living in that property, you out of town, you on vacation, whatever the hell you got going on. I'm going to say this, because people are acquiring rights to homes as if they live there. I've seen it done. Black man did it out in Texas years ago. He just went and moved into people's houses, broke in, and then he went to the court office, clerk's office, and filed for those houses. He obviously watched to see they were abandoned homes. It can be done. You can file for a house. If it sits long enough and nobody's doing anything to the house, nobody's living in the house, you can legally go to the clerk office and file to gain ownership of that house. Number two, people who squat. Those are people who either they watch the property, see nobody's living in there or going in there, or somebody's already living in there and they break in. Something's up. They find their way, move in your house, whether you live there or not, whether you have furniture in there or not, whether you have electricity on or not, they make their way in. So it's two types of ways this squatting can work. You can also be considered a squatter. You've been evicted from a place and you don't ever move out. But that makes no sense, because eventually you have to go to court. The judge will give you a timeline when to get out. You're still in there on the date that you're supposed to be out by the courts. The sheriff is supposed to remove your ass out of there, or the police, however. Set up? I don't know. Who will be the person to set it up? Because somebody has to know the apartment was empty. Number one, this is a $2 million apartment. So it's not cheap. So then you got to say, what? The mindset of whoever lived in the building found these two kids and told them, oh yeah, her apartment's empty, go stay in there. Gotta have proof. The story is off. I don't know the truth to this story. I'm kind of thinking they followed her from the street. They may have been watching the building, watching the people coming and going, target this building because they think the people, you know, live good, got something going on. I don't know. But something's off. Once again, it's another crazy story that don't make no sense. They made their way in that building. That's the point. They made their way in there. They didn't stay long. They murdered her, stayed there 2 days, and they left, stole her car, went on the run, wrecked the car, and now they're in custody. 16-year-old and a 19-year-old. Who are they? Where are they from? What is their kinship to the building? Do they know somebody in the building? Related to somebody in the building? Somebody in the building told them that, hey, this lady don't live on this apartment. Then that means it have to be somebody on the 19th floor or that black guy that's the superintendent. Take your pick. If you're going to say it's an inside job, then it has to be somebody that lives on her floor. And I can't see people paying that kind of money for an apartment, telling random strangers to go break into their neighbor's apartment and live in their apartment. I don't know if I believe that. So perhaps these children were walking the streets aimlessly, homeless, watching, living at, scouring the area. They think somebody had some money. They picked this poor woman and she was just taking care of her late mother's apartment. And she met with foul play because they beat that lady to death. 52-year-old lady. Don't know if she lived in New York, Spain, where she was doing. If she lived in both places. I don't know. But you need to be aware of your surroundings. You need to be aware of your property. So if you have a property right now, you don't stay in there. It belongs to your mother, sister, whomever, but you have the rights to it. You need to have somebody check that place. You need to have cameras. You need to have ADT. You need to have security just like you would if you were living there. You cannot just go leave your property and don't never check on it. People do it all the time. People are in the military. People go abroad to work, go to school. You cannot assume that somebody's not watching your house. I tell people this all the time. There is always people watching. There's always people knowing who came in your door, who went out, who lived there, who don't live there, if you keep company or not. This is why you have to be careful telling your business. You don't need to be telling your business to your neighbors, maintenance workers, plumbers, electricians. If you get work done on your house, condo, you don't need to tell people you're alone all the time, you live alone, because they will double back, okay? And that's just the truth. They watch. People watch. Because I live here in the South where people talk immensely. They tell everything they're going through. I've been guilty of chitter chatter, having a bad day. You got to be careful what you say. You got to be careful what you tell people, what you talk about, because these people are interconnected from county to county. I'm trying to tell you. You have to be careful of what you talk about, what you post to social media, what you put in your videos on lives and TikTok and IG. And that's how Pop Smoke got killed out in LA, showing shit on IG and the addresses on the boxes of the things he purchased. You got to think. Can't be posting, oh, I'm going to Aruba, I'm going to Mexico, I'm going to wherever, I'm going to London for 2 weeks, a week. Well, you think people don't know where you live? And depending on the type of company you keep, what type of neighborhood you live in, neighbors, nosy neighbors, thug-ass neighbors, trifling-ass family members, you can wake up and come home and ain't shit in your house. Happened to a lady in Atlanta a few months ago. House up for sale. Some folks just move in her house and take over. Just took over her house. There are people who are doing this for a living, walking around finding abandoned properties to try to purchase and to move into. Doctor up fake leases and documents to say they own it, they're renting it. You have got to watch your properties. You have to have people check on them weekly. Maybe 3 times a week, have somebody walk in, open a door, shut a door. Don't have mail delivered where it can pile up. Newspapers pile up. Everybody knows this. This is old. And you also got to be careful in telling a neighbor to watch it because you don't really know your neighbors. Oh, hey, I'm going to be out of town. Can you watch my house for me? You got to know who you're dealing with. Give them a key. Let them walk in, walk back out. Leave a car in the driveway. Leave a car in the driveway. I don't care if it's an old dusty car. Leave it there. Leave it there. Have motion lights on inside to cut on at a certain time and flip on and off from room to room so they'll think a person's moving around in the house. Security system. Iron gates and doors. Hell yeah. Depending on where you live. Because all types of neighborhoods are broken too. Wealthy, middle class, lower class, poor, don't matter. Doorbell cameras, security cameras, you need them. Because of the type of people who are walking around. You don't know people. You have got to have security now. You're a single person, man or woman, elderly person living alone. You think somebody don't know that? You think the neighbors don't know you live alone? They're watching to see who parked the car, how long they stayed there, how many times you came out the door by yourself. Somebody's always watching. You know why I know? Because I'm one of those people. I watch. I pay attention. Because I ain't trying to get caught up. And I talk to you through the door. Anybody tell you how Queen rock? And you think you're going to come up in here and I let you in? Oh, hell no. You're going to have to kick it in. But I'm not letting you in here. And I don't care what you say through that door. Well, I'm with such and such, and I came to check the meter, and I came to check it. Well, check it then. That's what I'm going to tell you. I'm going to look out the window. I'm going to say, oh, well, I'm going to stand here at the window and watch you check it. But you're not coming in here. Squatter, it's squatter nation right now. They're breaking into multi-million-dollar homes. Florida, here, there, LA, they don't care. Setting up parties, functions, like they live there. Turning on electrics, rigging lights. These people are crafty. Doctoring documents. And as I said, if you leave your property abandoned too long, a citizen has the right to go to the clerk and file paperwork to seize your house. So let's say you own a house and you're not doing anything with it. Nobody lives there. You're not cutting the grass. You're not doing nothing with it. You let it stay too long, somebody will watch and they will go to the clerk's office and they will file for paperwork for that house. I'm letting you know. You need to be aware. And it's just like, okay, you let somebody come stay with you. It don't work out. You put them out. Well, there are laws about that. Legally, you got to give them 30 days to get out. So long as they get mail at your house, your apartment. For 30 days, they are a legal resident of your apartment, your house, shed, camper, whatever it is. And a lot of people don't know that. The squatters have rights. So you heard that story years ago with the nanny who wouldn't leave the house. They ended up taking the door off her bedroom. She still wouldn't leave. But guess what? You know how they got rid of her? They towed her damn car out their driveway. So she had no choice but to get the hell out their house. And she was bitching and moaning and crying. And then we found out she was on an episode of Hoarders. How about that? On Hoarders, pretending to be a good Samaritan and this. Somebody needing help with their house. She forgot to tell them she had once was a squatter in somebody's house and wouldn't leave. This shows you how crazy people are. It ain't working out. They want you to leave their house. Get the hell out their house. It's not your house. And you don't have the right to go move into somebody's house, whether it's vacant or not. And you also don't have the right to break into somebody's house and they live there. I remember years ago, I was watching a video, I believe it was on YouTube. And a white lady, I believe it was in Michigan, Detroit, somewhere up there. She had come home and found a black woman in her house. And she's filming this. Are y'all listening to me? She's filming her confrontation with this black woman. Ma'am, what are you doing in my house? And the black lady's like, oh, that is my house. No, ma'am, this is not your house. Ma'am, you have broken into my house. Ma'am, I want you to get out of my house. So they're going back and forth while she's filming this. Things can go terribly wrong with you walking into your own house and finding a stranger there, and you're telling that person to get the hell out your house. They could shoot you, beat you up, tie you up, whatever. Best thing for you to do is walk back out that door, call 911, or pull out your gun and shoot them. Because by law, that's your house. Just make sure their back isn't turned, because you still can go to jail for that. Murdering a person in their back was turned. Although the law said you're supposed to kill a person inside of your house. See, there's stipulations to everything. If you own property, keep the property up. Keep somebody checking on the property, yourself, somebody. Because people will move into an abandoned property. People will move into a property that's not kept up. People will move into a property where they see somebody doesn't live there, okay? There's all type of schemes, scams. Of course, many of you know about the scams of people making people think the house is for sale, and then they go there, they send money to the person, and that's not even the owner of the house. You have to be aware. You have to double check things. You cannot just go out on faith blindly. And I think the worst squatter would be the one that would come into a house that's already lived in. And I think many of you don't really think about that. Coming home from work and find that somebody's in your house. And you're sitting here arguing with this person. Oh, what the hell are you doing in my house? You might lose your life. Because these people out here do not care. They don't care if 4 or 5 people live in the house. They will break in and stay in your damn house. But I do believe these people watch to see those who don't have a lot of foot traffic. That would be your best bet. Because you ain't gonna find so many people breaking into a house to live in and there's a lot of traffic coming in and out. Let's say you got 4 or 5 people living in a house. Most crooks ain't gonna wanna move into that house with all the traffic coming in and out, because they know they could probably get ganged up in there. They're gonna pick a house that's got 1 man living in it, 1 woman living in it. Break in, and then you come home, and now you're sitting here either arguing or fighting to get their ass out of there. So if you can become a legal carrier, I say go get your gun and get your permit. Ways of getting them out of there are the ways that I'm not supposed to say on this live, but let's just say a little gasoline and some nails, hammer, and wood to the windows. Pick one. There's ways of getting them out your house. I'll board you up or I'll light you up. Take your pick. Trust me, either one, they're going to run their ass out of there or they'll die in there. And that's what I would tell them. You want to die in here? It's up to you. This is a vicious story. Because once again, police don't know how Nadia came into this confrontation with these people or not. They either followed Nadia into the apartment or building, or somebody let them know about the apartment. But if it doesn't have any breaking and entering to the apartment door, because like I said, she doesn't have an apartment door, the late mother. The elevator went into the apartment. So you have to have a key to turn in the elevator to get to her floor, to that apartment. So somebody either let them in, the superintendent, and told them they could stay in that apartment because the woman was dead, or they followed this woman in to go check on the apartment and made their way up to the 19th floor. Still don't make no sense. So I think they followed her right behind her. But then you have to ask yourself, okay, if I'm to believe that, I'm going into the elevator to go to my mom's apartment. These people get on the elevator. they would have to ride it all the way up to the same floor. How did they look? Did they look scruffy? Well-dressed? See, all those things are going to matter. Because what did I just say? That apartment, you could only access it through the elevator. Didn't have a door. So if they followed in behind her, got on the same elevator, then they would have to also get off the elevator. And she would have had to know at this point something's about to jump off. So basically, you riding a ride to your death with two strangers in the elevator who are going to push you out of there and beat you up in that apartment. This is why this story don't make no sense. And the only reason why they want to think of a setup is because that only leaves the superintendent. Because the woman, you could only access her apartment by a key to the elevator. And who else would give you access to her apartment but the superintendent? This is a very wicked story. Another story where you're sitting here pondering and beating your head against the wall trying to put it together. But hopefully they'll tell the truth. We'll get more surveillance cameras to how these two got in the building in the first place. How did they know to go and live in this apartment on the 19th floor when you don't have no way into the apartment but by the elevator? This is a very strange SHIT. That's all I got for today, everybody. This is live number 2. Raleigh Strang's parents have spoken out. They've thanked the community and everyone that helped with the searches. And live number 2 is pertaining to 52-year-old Nadia Vitel. She was found murdered in her mother's apartment, her late mother's apartment. The mother had died a few months later. She went there to get it ready for somebody else to go live into it, a friend, family, whomever. And she was beat to death by these two teenagers, 16 and 19 years of age. They are currently inside of a jail in New York. Don't know how they got in, says the police. And that ain't good. Now imagine the feelings of the other people living in the building. Oh, you don't know how they got in, but you still want us to live here. Nowhere is safe. Not even putting the key in the elevator. You gotta have Fort Knox these days. And even with ADT, they still can cut the wires outside. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. This is a terrible situation. Thank you all so much for joining me. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $DeGanji129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are welcome during the live stream. This was a smaller live because most of my lives have been going just way too long, but I thank you for following this network. Welcome all new subs, guests, viewers. Thank you for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe. Drop your comments below this video. Tell me what you think about the information of Riley Strang. What will the autopsy show? How do his friends feel? Will they speak to the public? Are they going to speak? The frat brothers, are they going to finally say something about their frat brother? Are they going to tell us what actually happened at that bar? Alcohol Commission, will they cite these people for over-serving Riley Strang? And what really happened that night at the bar and over there by the river? How did this young man end up in the river? Because this is still baffling. Body found, but still too many questions. Found in that shirt, found with the Apple Watch on. Don't know about the phone or any other possessions. Card found, was it actually turned on? Was the same card used for his spending that night? We also hear nothing out of the ordinary stood out on his transactions. So was that the card used that night, March 8th, to those different bars? Do his friends have remorse for not going out with him when he was kicked out of that bar? What's the truth to it all? I do not know. But when I get an update, I will surely bring it to you. Thank you for joining me. God bless you all. Have a wonderful weekend. Queen is about to relax and watch a little telly. Tune in to Tubi because they've got some new movies in the queue, a lot of crazy things. So tune in. I'll be back. take the polls on my community page, because I did put up some polls today pertaining to Riley Strain, and I also had put some in the last live earlier. So when you watch that live from earlier, you will see some polls during that live stream, and I also put some more polls up this evening pertaining to this situation. And a lot of people did answer. The few that took the poll, they don't really know what happened to him under that bridge. If he went in on his own, went in by foul play, or accident. So far, they're claiming accident, but we will wait to see the autopsy results. Prayers to the family, relatives, friends, the communities, schools, everybody that searched and helped, aided in some fashion, flyers, so on and so forth. Thank you for your help, and prayers to them. And once again, this is a horrible story. And my message, as I said earlier today and the earlier live, be aware of your faculties, know the people you're with, and know the company that you're in. Because I hate for somebody else to have to find out the hard way that they thought they knew their friends, and they thought their friends would support them. They thought their friends, or think their friends, are going to aid them in a bad situation. You don't know people. And you can't turn back the clock. This isn't a dress rehearsal. This thing called life, this is it. So whatever you say, do, you either apologize, don't apologize, but you should know karma is a bitch, paybacks are MF, and life has no guarantees. That any decision you make, that is it. There is no going back, and you may not be able to go back and rectify the situation. This is why you have to use your common sense and due diligence when you're out here doing whatever it is you're doing. And it does not have to be anything involving alcohol or drugs. We live in a cruel world, and people are people. And you need to accept that. You do not know people, and everyone does not have your back. And sadly, Mr. Strain had to find out the hard way. What led him to that river? Why was he walking over there? Had he Googled the wrong place, became sick, lost his boundaries, his stepping, holding on to the rail to throw up, felt sick, lightheaded, passed out? What happened? Went down over the rail and into the water. Alive or deceased? Aided by somebody else? Harmed? Or he willingly went into the river to end his own life? I don't know. But I think he was upset, and I think he was in his feelings. And I think that's why he was over there walking by that river. I could be wrong. I don't know. But I still believe he was in his feelings. Even if he was trying to find a hotel and Googled the wrong place, I think he was upset that he was out alone by himself, no friends, nobody there. Who's to say? Thank you for joining me. You've been listening to the Vitel. Thank you.